This is a steel MS290. What did I do with the jug? Here it is. I thought I would be able to save the jug. See those black dots? Those are raised up above. I need to get some phosphoric acid for such cases as this, but it's not going to do me any good to get those black spots off there. That's aluminum that's built up. Below that, below the exhaust port, there is some scoring on the cylinder walls, which you can see right there. Can't get those out. I've honed it and honed it and honed it. No good. The other side looks pretty good. So, I'm really bummed out about that. This belongs to a friend. It's actually the guy that cut the tree down. And I became friends with him and his son and his brother. His brother wasn't here cutting, but his brother brought me this saw. This is a Husqvarna 350. That one, the trigger where the linkage goes through in here, there's a spring that wraps around one of the butterfly, what's that rod that goes through there? It holds the flap on the butterfly. That spring has a tail end that sticks out, and it actually holds this piece of linkage in over here, and that spring's bad, so I ordered another one. I'm waiting for it. The other thing I need to do is put this rubber boot in there, because when you're running the saw, you got the cover off and you push down on the carburetor, so it's sucking air. With it running, I shot some starter fluid, or what is it? Starting fluid. I guess I don't know what I'm saying. It's early and tired. Okay. Anyway, it stalled right out, so that was an issue. So I picked that up, waiting for the spring. This saw is one of the saws that I bought at the hardware store for $20. It runs. This thing was so dirty you couldn't see orange underneath all of the dirt. I'm telling you, this thing sat in a barn. And if you're familiar with what an old barn that had cattle and horses, all that kind of stuff in there, hay and straw and whatever was stuck to this thing, you couldn't see it. And the problem with this one is the two top holes are stripped out, and I'm trying to remedy that. It's the only thing stopping me from getting this one ready to sell. That's a 142. I've got a 136 up here. And that one I put a new muffler on it because that was missing one. And then I'm waiting for parts for the inside here. So that's all that's going on with that one. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4 saws that I'm working on. This one is all in there and in here. And I don't like working on steels. I just don't. Pete from Cheap Homesteading tore one of these down, just like this one. And I've been watching his video. I watched it when he first put it out. And I thought, well, I never worked on one, but it's interesting. I like chainsaws. So, wouldn't you know, when I got this one, I did a search and his video came up. It's the exact same one. So, at least I have his video to fall back on and try to get this thing together once I get the right part. Now, the other thing was I wanted this lower end out, because when I clean stuff, I mean, if this was my saw to clean up and sell, I would have it plunked in my parts washer and getting all this stuff off there, but that's not necessary for this job. The other problem here is this lower end is still good, except the bar stud was broke there. And you can see it's been broke a long time. It's all black. It's not a fresh break. And you can get the upper end lower for $40, $30. piston, everything. So what I was getting to is this emergency room hospital in bed. This is one of the two. Pretty good for this purpose right here. So I'm going to keep one. I don't know which one I'm going to keep. The one out there that's outside is not like this one. It doesn't have this fold down. This is the foot part that will flip up. It came in handy this morning because I flipped it down so I could get the table closer over here. This one has stirrups in it. I think I should. I guess I didn't make a video of that before, but those pull out and then flip up. And that might work as a stopper, don't you know? So it's working pretty good for working on here. I took the carburetor off. This mower is like almost like new. I mean, it's whoever had it let gas get in the carb. And it had a little bit of that gooey stuff. It wasn't real bad, but there was also water in the gas. So I got to remedy that situation. I'm going to drain all the gas out of the little tank there, put it all back together, and see what happens. All right, well, that's probably the end of this here for now anyway. Let's see if anything will become of it. Yeah, I'll have to start the mower for sure. I got a couple of updates. This is that 350. I finally got it all put back together, but one problem led to another. So I replaced that spring over here, which you can see right there around that linkage. That intake boot, which is down in there. And one of their designs, which is a pour design, right where this clamp is in there that you can see, they have a plastic clamp that's just one snap and that's it. It's part of this black thing. Oh, you can see it there to the right of the clamp. And after years of use, it heats up and gets hard, and whatever happens, it doesn't clamp good anymore. So I saw a hack on YouTube, and the mechanic at the hardware store said he does the same thing, is you cut that clamp part off, put in a regular hose clamp, and you're good to go. So I did that. But you have to remove the jug to remove this black piece and the clamp, which meant I then had to put in a new base gasket. What was happening is when I started up, the thing was, it ran like a runaway diesel. It just kept going and going and going and going and going and going. I had to shut it down. I put that new base gasket on there and it still did it. So then I put bearing and seal. And now it runs, but the idle's high, and no matter what I do to adjust it, it's still idling way too high. So I need to take it over and have the mechanic look at it and see what he would suggest on it. Otherwise, it's pretty close to returning to the owner. The 136 up there, which basically looks just like that one, is ready to be sold. This one I'm still waiting. My neighbor is going to bring me some helicoils, and so I'm waiting for him to do that, and I'm going to see if I can't drill that out, put some helicoils in there, and then I'll have to get a bar and chain for it. I may have a chain, but I don't have a bar. Well, I take that back. I do have bars. I've got a lot of bars. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, got a lot of bars. But I don't have any chains the right size to fit these bars for that one. So that's what we're waiting for there. Nothing new with this guy. Still waiting for parts. And then here's the other hospital bed. I decided to keep this one. I have the other one at the auction. just to see what it's going to sell for. I paid 20 bucks for it, so it's got to sell enough that after fees and everything, I get my 20 bucks back. And I'm hoping that it would go quite good. I mean, it's a nice hospital bed. This one has a little rust spot there, but, you know, guy could buy some of that thick foam mattressy stuff at the Wally Worlds and put on there for a brebs if you wanted to use it for a bed. What else we got going on here for an update? Let me think. My cousin brought this over yesterday for me to work on. He only paid 20 bucks for it. I wish I would have got a hold of it. And that, I've said about these rear engine ones before, ain't that the cutest little thing? But I think this is the cutest little thing. It's a mid-engine. It's a Fiero. It's actually a Yard Machines Love Bug. But it's only getting 60 pounds of compression, so we've got troubles. So this winter, I'll tear it down. It's basically a push mower engine, except this has a starter on it. So I'm waiting for my buddy across state to come over and get this. My brother brought over this Echo. It works. He brought over 7 lawnmowers, and I think I have them all at the auction now. I believe I do. A neighbor across the way in another neighborhood wants me to sell this for him. And it needs a new cable, and I thought I ordered one, but... Maybe I ordered it on eBay, and that's why I don't have it yet. I'm waiting for snail mail. What else? Nothing. Yeah, well, we got these here. I don't know if I showed any of this before, but this is the Badlands Winch, and it's the biggest one you can get at Arboreal Freight. And Brian said whenever he gets around to it, he's going to buy a new one. I don't know why, because there wasn't anything wrong with this one. He just wanted a new one, I guess. He waltzed in there one day. Well, he didn't waltz. He doesn't know how to waltz. He sashayed on in. And there was one, exactly what he was looking for, marked down because the box was damaged. Everything inside was fine, so he bought it. And he gave this one to me for my big trailer. Then, he seems to find these things all the time at the scrapyard. This is the latest one, and no compression, so I'm going to have to tear that one down. This one he's had for a while. I think that's the first one he found at the scrapyard. Maybe it was the second one. At any rate, he gave that one to me. And that one actually runs, but it's missing all the gobbledygook in the back. So one of these days, I'm going to take it to the steel dealer and see what all is missing from it, and see if I want to pay to get her put back together. They'll give me a printout of all the parts, and then I can start looking on eBay and all these other places to try to cut costs, because the steel prices are going to be expensive. Okay, outside. This snowblower works. That's all I got to say about that. This snowmobile runs. I've only got it to fire like 3 times, and I couldn't keep it running because the engine's cold. And so it floods super easy. The rest of it's pretty much, I don't know. It's been beat up pretty bad. I suppose somebody could maybe do something with it. I'm not a snowmobile guy, so I won't. But I will put her up for sale at the auction on location, because I ain't lugging that thing around. And then they can buy it. Here comes Amazon. There goes Amazon. Got another load of wood loaded up in this guy's trailer, guy that bought it. And I'm hoping we can get the rest of this loaded up in there and get it out of here. It won't hold much because this old horse trailer is old. But there's how much wood that this old woody woodchuck could chuck. So it doesn't look like a whole lot, but man, it's heavy. I tell you what, I can't lift that one. No sir. All I could do just to roll it. So I guess that's all that's been going on here. I'm going to add on some sales that I made at the auction. That brush hog that was out here that had that, I don't know, 11, 12 horse engine on it. Sold that. We only got about half of what I thought we would get out of it, but it's also the end of the mowing season. If I would have hung on to it all winter and then sold it, I'm pretty sure I would have got what I wanted. But it was free. I didn't have much into it, so we're not complaining. So I'm gonna walk this way because the Amazon guy would probably look at me and laugh. That guy is walking around talking. Okay. I always leave things that I've sold on here until I get my receipt or my paycheck with the receipt. And I was thinking some of that stuff was still on the computer, but not there, so I'll have to go down here. The Husqvarna 440 chainsaw that I picked up from the hardware store, I sold for $167. I lost money. Here's a good one. 2 jigsaws and 2 planes. You know, the woodworking planes, old ones. I just had these sitting around in the garage that Brian brought over, and I didn't know what to do with them. You can't sell those jigsaws. Nobody will buy them. And I thought that, and I know I looked up those planes on eBay, and I couldn't really find the same ones, so I just threw them in there. Well, they sold for $106. And then there's this little Aaron's 2-horse rototiller that sold for $41. This air compressor pump is a real heavy duty pump, sold for $47.25. And the Swisher brush hog sold for $770.58. Troy built rototiller sold for $131. And Yard Machines rototiller sold for $42.58. So that their Swisher brush hog new was right around $2,500. And I know, pretty sure, in the springtime I could have probably got $1,500. But that's okay. And then it's funny, I was watching an episode of Vice Grip Garage, and he went to the Swisher company down south there and made a video on that stuff. I never heard of Swisher in my life till Brian brought that one over here. And then this guy goes to the factory and, you know, stuff. I sold this 220 volt table saw for $106. I sold this Briggs & Stratton 8-horse engine from the 80s for $42.69. Boring. And I sold this railroad track piece for $15. It wasn't that big. This here sold for $216. And the stack of tires, this is pretty good. Brian goes to the scrapyard and there's a horse trailer sitting there, and the guy says, Brian, you want those tires? Take them off there. The wheels and the tires. He didn't have any sockets to take the lug nuts off, so he took the drum, man, the rims and the wheels all together. So that sold for $146. And today on eBay, my phone went cha-ching, and I sold this chainsaw for $225. I had another one almost identical to it that I sold for $115. I bought both of these at the hardware store. Some person was selling them on consignment. They sat in there for a while. I'd walk in there every now and then, look them up on eBay, and I'm thinking, you know, I really should buy those. The guy had, what did he have on there? I think 60, he finally got them marked down to $60 a piece. So I told the mechanic, I said, call him up, tell him I'll give him $100 for the pair. And he took it. So the first one sold for $115, which paid for the investment. This one sold today for $225, and the man brought another one that is probably worth close to this. It's in beautiful condition, so I'm going to let it sit there for a while. Nobody will buy it. It's a home light, and I would never try to sell a home light anywhere other than eBay, because these guys out there in the world just love them. So I don't work on them. If it's not running, I don't want it. If it's running, I can chuck it on eBay and make some money on it. So, alright, well, that'll wrap things up, and we'll catch you on the next one.